Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem premieres August 4th. So Adan and I are going to take a look back at the 1990 live-action original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Even though several years ago, currently on Rotten Tomatoes, it is scored by the critics 41% and by the audience 81%.
You're not going to do the song?
Because it's not that's part 2, not part 1.
Oh, no, there's a song for it in it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Power.
Cowabunga.
I made a funny.
Welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. I am Angel,
I'm Adan.
where we give you a review at least once a week. Spoiler alert. Depending on when this review comes out, because we already saw
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
and we loved it. Make sure you check our review on that. But I wanted to do a review on this because usually that's what we do. When a new movie comes out, either being it a remake or a sequel, we like to go back and look at the original.
Yeah.
Before we go into that, let's go over the cast and crew, if you will. So it's directed by Steve Barron, written by Bobby Herbeck, Todd W. Landron, and oh yeah, I may say these names incorrectly. It is created, though, by Peter Liard and Kevin Eastman. It is also co-produced by Garden Harvest, Raymond Chow. He was a partner with Bruce Lee back in the day. They've done a few. Enter the Dragon was another Golden Harvest production, and they did some other like Jackie Chan films, and now they did this. It is starring Judith Hogg, as played April, Elias Koteas, he was Casey Jones, which I love him. He's awesome. He was also in that teenage movie, Some Kind of Wonderful. He was awesome in that. He's a great actor.
He's been in a bunch of stuff, and the funny thing is, I only remember him from Oz.
I never saw Oz, so I don't know.
But I know he was like in, was it not New York Undercover, CSI, not CSI, one of those police drama series.
Probably. He's a well-known, established actor.
Yeah.
So yeah. You have here also James Saito. He played Shredder. He played the live-action version of Shredder. David Foreman. He was Leo. Michelin Sisti. He was Michelangelo. Leif Tilden. He was Donnie or Donatello. Josh Pace. He was Raphael. You also have Jay Peterson. He's Charles. He was April O'Neil's boss. He was in other films too. He did a lot back in the 90s. You have Michael Turney, he was Danny, Charles' son. And you have one of the early works of Sam Rockwell, which even though I still see it as it blows me away to see him in this. Because you kind of don't recognize him. He kind of do. His face is so young.
Mm-hmm. It's when puberty was just kicking in on him. The facial hair was just coming in for the first time.
Right. But I'm just saying, but he's still and then his accent kind of changes a couple of times.
Yeah, I can see that.
A little bit here and there, it does change. But he's there pretty much in the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie, where he's one of the attackers of April O'Neil, and then he rats out Shredder's location to the cops at the end.
He didn't attack her.
Yeah, he did.
He was the one giving out the cigarettes, and he wasn't
right.
Was he?
No,
one of the ones dressed up in the foot.
No, he was the one that. When April came out, gave a news report, and she's walking towards her truck or van.
Okay, so it was about the van.
And Raphael comes in and saves the day and leaves his side.
Okay,
he's there. He's tied up. He's wearing a black leather jacket.
Okay, I missed it.
It's a lot of voiceover work here due to the Turtles, Shredder, Splinter. Oh, and then you also have, which I forgot to mention, he played Tatsu. He was the second man in charge of the clan. Toshishiro Obata. He played the guy. But I didn't know that they needed a voiceover for the guy. They needed a person to sound Japanese.
You mean like the stereotype type of Japanese? Because it was pretty stereotypical, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's how they are too a lot of times, especially like that, in the sense of presence of power.
Yeah.
No, but the presence of power, you have that strong, dominating voice. But for the voiceover, you have Josh Pice, who played Raphael. He voiced Brian Toshi. He was Leonardo. You know who Brian Toshi is?
Brian Toshi.
Without looking it up?
Off the top of my head, no.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I keep asking because I know you don't know. But anyway, since I did the research, he is in Revenge of the Nerds. He's also in Police Academy. He's the typical Asian guy back in the day, back in the 90s. The Asian who is smart with the computer, but also does
Oh
martial
my
arts, all that
God!
stuff.
Yes, I just pulled up his photo as soon as I saw his face.
You also have here Corey Feldman as Donatello, Robbie Rist as Michelangelo. You have David McCharran doing the voice of Shredder. You also have Michael. This is a hard one for me. Michael Mc.
Oh no,
Sorry, He. Thank you. He was the voice for Tatsu. Two white guys doing this. But also you have here Kevin Clash as the voice of Splinter, and he's also the voice for Elmo.
yes.
Now, I thought the voices matches the characters perfectly. Even though they may not have been original Asian actors doing the voice work, it did match them perfectly, in my opinion. What about you?
Yeah, it's one of those situations where even though it's voiced by someone else, it fit the portrayal of the characters. Like was it Tatsu, like the way he performed it added to the voice. It made him seem like he should be that rough, grizzly kind of guy that just grunts everywhere, and it just seemed appropriate. I would be more intrigued. Like, granted, nowadays you probably wouldn't find it, but I would be intrigued to hear his actual voice as
Right.
he's portraying those roles to see if it was it really even necessary. Shredder, the way that was done, absolutely had to be dubbed. Like, it sounded like he was talking to a fan the entire time.
It was done well in a sense. Also, like when the turtles were in the sewer, you hear the echo.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the actors were there by the actors in the costume, and then you had the animatronics moving. Oh, by the way, animatronics. This is also the costumes and design. All that stuff is by the Jim Henson's crew.
Yeah, yeah. Jim Henson was and still is like the top puppeteering company, but they were like revolutionary. And watching this movie reminded me like how well they were with practical effects for their puppets.
Yes, because they did stuff like Labyrinth. They did other movie, the Dark Crystal, and you have all those Muppet movies.
Yeah, they also had like horror based shows and stuff like that that were.
And also they did freaking, if I'm not mistaken, Yoda.
I think so too. Yeah.
Well, Frank Oz is part of that crew. He's the voice of Yoda for live action, and it being inspired by the comic book and the animated series. It came out in 1987, I believe. The popularity of the cartoon was what led to the live action movie.
I would say they weren't too far. I mean, granted, the cartoon they had the foot soldiers as like machines, but here I think the movie was actually closer to the cartoon than a lot of other iterations that came afterwards. Granted, they changed the nationality of April, which they never really clarified, but they kind of did. And then they made Master Splinter a rat instead of, well, he was always a rat, but I mean, originally a rat that just saw his master doing martial arts versus a man turned into a rat, which was the cartoon. They kind of condensed the story a little bit more. The story of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon was fairly simplistic. They didn't introduce Krang for a long time and Cowboy Bebop for a while.
Cowboy Bebop?
I meant Bebop and Rocksteady.
I was like, that's a whole nother animated show.
I'm not wrong, though. That wasn't introduced until a long time.
Okay, fair enough on that. Fair enough. Now, watching again, it does not age well in the sense of
the footage quality.
The footage, right? Because I saw on Max.
So did I.
Yeah, I don't know if they could do a 4K version of that would improve. It was not that well.
I mean, if they have it for 4K, they probably would do it for 4K. There's been older material that we've seen that.
Right, Conan, for example.
Exactly, Conan.
Conan looks great in 4K. Oh, speaking about Conan, I texted you last night. I don't know if you got it, but I texted like, I know how Conan the Barbarian feels
for pushing the thing.
Well, you know what happened, right?
Oh, your tire blew out.
No, not that. No, not that. So last night we saw Mom. Mom came down to visit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We drop her off. We go to see the fights, and then we are on the way home. I see where the gas. I was like, oh, we can make it. I can make it a little further down.
You ran out of gas.
Ran out of gas. On 95 southbound.
Oh,
It was around 1 o'clock in the morning.
That's the
Luckily, I
only
was with.
saving grace you had.
I
And
think so
as
too.
bad as traffic would be, anyways.
Yeah, not bad, but as much as cars going by.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And luckily, we had to pull over by the next exit, but not close enough.
Was this in your car?
No, not the Prius.
Oh,
No, it was
that would have
it
been
was
even
her.
funnier to me. Like you ran out of gas in the hybrid.
No, we ran out of gas on Kimberly's heavy ass SUV.
Yeah, it does suck up some gas.
Yeah, I had to push it a couple times. It felt like she was hitting the brake,
You're going too
but
fast.
no. But there was that. It was any
Mhm.
slight incline. It feels like the hill is like this. So it was tough. I was
That's
sweating profusely. I was sweating profusely. I had sandals on, so I had no real good grip. And then I had to stop. It took us almost an hour, I would think, to travel half a mile. It would probably been faster if I walked to the gas station, got a thing, walked back, and then,
possibly. That's a big old SUV too.
oh yeah. And then she goes, let me go out and push.
Did she?
That's
Did she
that's
actually
something.
do it?
Hells no. She ain't gonna. She can't live like she works out. She works out, but her limit is like 20 pounds.
It's hilarious.
That's something like mom would say, and it's like, let me
Yeah,
do it.
but
And like,
but here's the funny thing. I'm like, mom would say, "Oh, let me do it," and 9 times out of 10, we will clearly be like, "No, I don't need you getting hurt. Please don't." And she's like, "No, no, no," and she's just doing it as she's saying, "Let me do it," in the most awkward way.
right, of course,
Yeah, like who's
but I
steering the wheel?
right, but I didn't let Kim get out of the car. I was like, ugh.
That's
But
good.
luckily, we got there, and it says like deputy saw us. He helped us push across as well
Oh, that's nice.
to finish it. Yeah, it was nice. Like he was. It wasn't like in the highway. Like, it was like on the main street now, getting closer to the gas station. There was like 3 gas stations, but 2 of them were closed, and
That's
one
right.
was oh,
Allow them close around you.
and I was like, oh man. But he helped us, and so, but I was sweating profusely. And then I gave her money to pay, right? And would you think that she'll come back with like a water bottle, something to help me replenish any?
Did she get a drink for herself?
She got nothing. She just, let's go. I was like,
We're almost.
so I'm hanging out outside the window like this, trying to get the air. And then she puts the AC. It's like, no, that's too cold. That's too cold. I was like, let me just get the natural air first. But we got home around 2 o'clock in the morning. So anyway,
Is that going to be a part of your new boot camp routine? Like, all right,
no,
everybody, we're going to go out to the
but
parking lot
but like I said, we had the debate, or we discussed about Arnold getting that jacked if he did that
every day.
grinder wheel. And I'm thinking, yeah, he can get that big. Yeah, it can happen. My legs are sore, my ass is sore, my back, my triceps were burning,
Yeah, I imagine that's a
my
full
core.
body workout. Now that I'm thinking about it,
That was my night. Do you have any favorite scenes or favorite moments?
when you first meet Casey Jones and he's interacting with Raphael, that's a fun moment. Like
Mhm.
they're the quips going back and forth. Although the real passion goes between Casey and Donnie later on. Uh, they really connect over insults.
Well, no, yeah, but I mean, to me, it felt like
Rushed.
Donnie. No. Donnie and Michelangelo were like tight.
Oh no, absolutely. They
They were
were
tight.
of the
And then
brothers. You could see the click
right.
between Raph and Leo, and Donnie
Mhm.
and Michael. But they were definitely, if they had to pair off, that'd be their pairs.
Right. Right.
The other scene I was
And
going
you,
to
and
say
you notice
was
it. Well, hold up. But you
oh
notice that the if you do that pair right, you look at it, not just that the dynamic of how they connect, but the weaponry. Donnie and Michelangelo have 2 wood
wood
weapons,
weapons. Yeah,
and Raphael and Leonardo have metal weapons.
yeah. They have the two sharp edges, while the other two have the
Well, no,
blunted weapons.
sides are not sharp. They're not meant to be sharp.
I didn't think they were sharp like on like a bladed, more like as a spear, kind of like point.
Right, that's what it is. But it's more of a blocking and like breaking the sword kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what those are meant for. And there are a lot of them, and a variation of that, the jute, is used by police back in the day to disarm and to break samurai swords for those who get a little out of hand.
Oh, that reminds me. I heard somewhere that each weapon was chosen due to the personality of the turtles.
Right, I saw that. I saw that video too.
Yeah, yeah.
The
And
2 guys, I can't remember who was it from, but they were talking about like why they have each weapon is because of to help like Michelangelo, who's all over the place, with a weapon like the nunchaku,
Nunchucks, you have to focus.
you have to focus. And Donatello, who is so smart, he gave him the basics, the basic of the basic weapons.
Mm. It's like
And
your
then
basic tool.
tool, your basic tool. Sounds kind
No,
of wrong.
no, like your basic like you.
No, I understand.
Yeah, there's
It's
a.
like the most. It's like the most primal weapon established.
Mhm.
Is the staff.
Exactly. And then like I just don't remember Leo's, but I remember Raph was because of his anger, and so they gave him a weapon that's not it's meant to disarm, not meant to maim. Leo, that's the only one I can't remember what was the purpose of that one.
Yeah, something about his leadership and something like that. And
If you guys
but
seen that video, put it in the comments, please. I also enjoyed the antique shop scene where they're being attacked.
okay,
Initially with Raph fighting all the foot soldiers at the beginning of
on the
that scene,
rooftop. Yeah.
and he goes, it just made
Oh,
me laugh. He goes, "Come
yeah.
on, guys, how you expect to beat me?" And at that moment, I was thinking to myself, like how you always call out those fight scenes, like, oh, you always see like the guy like just hovering in the background, he's a one at a
Hmm.
time, and that was what
Yeah.
was happening. And then when as soon as he says that, everybody just starts swarming in like an army. And you get
Good
good.
answer.
That's what he was saying. He was a good answer. Good answer.
Right. No, it's good. It was written smart in a lot of ways, and like you have like Raphael's performance more like a New Yorker.
Oh, he was very much the cliche New Yorker in a lot of ways.
Right. And I like in the mannerism, all that stuff. Like, yo, what's up? Like almost like a b-boy.
Hmm.
For me, I thought all the fight scenes were great.
The
I did.
There was
I
times where I thought that like they could have been a little bit better, but it
no,
was overall
overall. I mean, at the end with Shredder, like especially when
Splinter.
no, with Shredder when they're
I thought you were
fighting.
talking about when he flips Shredder.
No, but I got that's a faux pas that I saw. I was like, there's a few faux pas here, but
Absolutely.
when they're fighting and like especially when Donatello goes and attacks Shredder and it's like standing there, I was like one step sparring,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I was like, ugh. And them not working together because they were fighting one at a time instead of fighting Shredder all at once.
Hmm.
Something they have not learned yet, even though it applied earlier in the other fight scenes when they fought the Foot Clan or when they fought to protect April O'Neil. That's when
Like
it
every
was
other
a good
fight
stuff.
scene, but that
But my favorite is not a scene or moment, but character. Michelangelo. He was
Mikey's
awesome.
fun.
He was awesome. He was in the like nowadays in the modern incarnations, they make him like Dopey from the Seven Dwarfs in a way.
Hmm.
Like he's so crazy out there. He's not. He's just part. He's just a little more fun.
Yeah, he's a definite jokester, and you see it in the other movies. That like he starts getting more of a character, like joking around. But in this movie, even though he jokes around a lot, you could tell like he's still a fun guy. It's just and he's not dumb or anything like that. It's
Right.
just that he like the like oh like April's getting the back rub from Casey,
Right. And
and
he gets
he's
the
like
turtle wax.
and everybody's like you want your shoulders rubbed? And he's like no, I got it. And he pulls out the turtle wax.
Yeah. But my favorite scene is the little chucker, eh?
Yes, I
That's a
was
great one.
waiting to see if you were going to call that out.
Well, the thing is like for the longest time, I couldn't understand like what was so amazing with him twirling the nunchuck or the nunchaku. And then I looked at it again. I was like, oh, wait a minute. He's spinning the nunchaku on his finger on the chain.
Yeah, which is impossible.
Right. And I'm thinking, I was like, I finally saw it. I was like, that's what makes it like, that's why he just, they were going at it. They were like at 8 and 8, 9 and 9, 10 and 10. And he just took it to 11 with that. I was like, oh,
And
okay.
to add insult to injury, he's like, keep practicing.
Right. Now, even though it's 4 characters, this is Raphael's story.
Oh yeah, good. And which is funny because a lot of times when we watch those like other iterations of Ninja Turtles, I would say in most cases like Leo takes the shine because he's the quote unquote leader. Raphael is definitely not a leader, but he's forefront of the story.
He's like the driving force where helps the team come together, as well as Splinter.
Hmm.
But you see him like he's an outcast. He doesn't fit well in the beginning with his own teammates. He's mad at himself for leaving the side. Oh, and also we see here that this, again, one of many original stories or origin stories, and that we see that their rescue of April O'Neil is their first adventure. And that's what they said. Leonardo comes in and says, Master, we were successful in our first fight, or whatever we call it.
Yeah.
And there were so many, even though it wasn't many, but it was like so many, and we prevailed. Well, being all over dramatic. And we saw that with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem too. It was like their first ever adventure, even though they were out before getting food and what have you.
Yeah.
Here you have that again. And like here, some of the how they became about in this story is cute, but then again, it's like, huh? Especially with Splinter surviving a sword attack, like Shredder would just strike at his ear instead of going to kill him like altogether.
I'm not a sword expert, but a rat, granted he was a New York rat, he was a rat from elsewhere. New York rats are like size of dogs, but like a rat, I've seen regular rats. They're pretty small.
No, but oh my God. But it's not what I'm saying though. He was, the thing is, this rat was never like on all four legs. It was always upright.
Well, yeah, that's because it was training to martial arts, but then it jumped on his face.
But what I'm saying is though, you're missing the point. Why would Shredder, who just got shredded by Splinter, just cut off his ear? You know what I'm saying? It's like he cut my ear off and then left. I was like, really? If it was me, I would freaking cut you up and feed you to the cats.
Were you thinking about that scene? I assumed Splinter just escaped and he just chucked it out. Rat got away.
Splinter escape or a Shredder escape?
Splinter escape.
But no, but you see him after the fact that he's like, he goes to his ear like, ow, and then goes to his master's paw or hand.
Or he got chased away, or Shredder got chased away, like the authorities showed up or something like that. I mean, that's the only reason why I can think Shredder will disappear. Like people start showing up and he's like, I can't be here. That kind of situation. Because he was like, and no one saw the Shredder again. Like he just disappeared.
Right. I'm saying for a ninja master, for a master of weapons, he was horrible.
Oh, that's fair, yeah.
Now, there are some faux pas, and that was one of them. But one is the cutting of the pizza.
It dices, it slices.
Right, but the pizza is already cut.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm saying, why are you cutting pizza that's already cut by Domino's? Oh, that's another thing. All the product placements here. Holy crap.
Oh, you forgot how well product placement was?
Burger King, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Domino's.
All the best places.
What else am I forgetting?
Wait, Mountain Dew was in there?
Yes, when the kids when they're in the...
Oh, yeah, that's true. Menthol.
Plays with it. Well, I'm not sure they showed this. They showed the cigarettes. I don't think you do that for a PG.
I thought they did show the label.
And back in the day, yes, product placement was so big. It was like the person is in the background with the product is like right there, right in your face.
They made that work though. Made me want a Whopper.
Now, the other faux pas that I caught, and there's other ones too, but the ones that really stuck out was Splinter versus Shredder.
Which we talked about a little bit, yeah.
Right. And he flips Shredder over the building. Shredder's holding on to a spear that has no edges to it, that it could easily slid out of the nunchaku hold.
They were making it look like Splinter was holding it so tight that it was keeping the spear, the cone of the spear.
But it had no head to it, so it was just smooth, right?
Yeah.
So it could just slide right out, especially in that angle.
It should have slid right out.
Yeah, right. But the moment where Shredder throws the tanto, if you watched it or you paid attention, Splinter catches the tanto.
I saw.
Then lets go the nunchaku for him to fall.
I thought it was... He let go of one hand.
Right. But what I'm saying, to catch the tanto, to catch the knife, he let go, right? But then, right as soon as that happened, it cuts to the nunchaku where the hand is. You see the hand being let go.
Oh, so they edited it wrong. They flipped the editing.
Correct. Right, but still, I was like, wait a minute, how's that possible? How's he has 3 hands now?
Yeah,
is that much of a mutant?
It would have been more funny if it was a tail.
That would have been awesome. See that?
To his best.
Use the tail. He could use the tail for the spear.
I know. That would have been hilarious.
It would have been awesome. Shredder did look awesome. I loved his costume. It was very reminiscent to the comic book and cartoon. A little modified, of course.
I agree, but I thought it was funny. Like when he first comes out and as
With the
posing,
cape?
with the cape, with the imposing presence, like he just shows up, and then you see
Tatsu.
Tatsu just comes out, takes a good solid 30 seconds just to get the cape over the edges of the
Right,
blades
but
on his shoulder.
won't rip.
Uncalled for in any capacity.
Well, he just could have kept it on. He just kept the cape as it is.
Yeah, he could have kept the cape as is, or just not wear the cape. Either.
Right.
Just,
Now,
or not
granted,
have it over your shoulders.
his purple bling was very reminiscent of Prince.
Hey, it was the 90s, man. It was a different time.
I would like that it was more Japanese, like wearing hakama or the top.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little more right. It had a little more bling to it than I would have liked. But the costume itself, with the knives and the claws, awesome. Is this worth the watch?
I think so.
For some, probably one and done.
Mm-hmm.
But for us who grew up with martial arts and grew up watching kung fu movies and all that stuff. Oh, speaking about that, a lot of this stuff is, even though they're Ninja Turtles, a lot of stuff was kung fu.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Especially with Leonardo with the katanas. The way he's using it is more like a Chinese style than Japanese style. Oh, and speaking about that, Leonardo's swords are sharp, and he's using them. So he's killing people on screen left and right, but apparently they don't die.
I'm trying to think of when he actually hit someone. I don't think he actually hit anybody.
Well, there's a couple, especially in the final scene, the finale. There's some that he's taken down, but still, just like, because you see later on at the getaway house, like Casey Jones is chopping carrots with Leonardo's sword.
Yeah.
So you know it's sharp.
Mm-hmm.
I know they use it even more so in the sequel. In all honesty, the movie itself could have been just one. There was no need for sequels, in my opinion. Maybe part two with Vanilla Ice, but maybe part two, because you had Rocksteady and Bebop show up, the other characters that we know, but especially part three.
So here's the thing. Like, I don't remember if they were contracted initially for like 1, 2, and 3. I feel like they would have definitely been like, we're gonna do 1, and then depending on how we feel like we might do a 2 and 3.
Oh, it's just definitely for a money grab. But the third sequel is just definitely a money grab. Traveling back in time. I was like, different April O'Neil too. Like a girl's like, she's like, I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore.
Well, that was by a second one. They changed her.
Oh, was that the same redhead?
In number 2, they didn't use the same actress for April O'Neil. She was used for 2 and 3.
Oh, okay, the same actor. Okay.
And it was funny, they came out pretty close to each other. If you watch this and this was a one and done film and it's a single story, it would have been fine.
Now, I'm sorry. Now with the Rotten Tomato score, 41 with the critics, 81% with the audience. Where do you see it as?
Only more towards the audience.
Yeah, for me, for nostalgia.
Yeah, but even at that, like as an overall film, like I think it's a fine film. Like I watched it, setting aside the nostalgia aside, it was an overall film. It kept me entertained. It kept me into it. It didn't feel too long, and I could see the emotion from some of the characters, like we were talking about. There was a good connection with a lot of the characters. I didn't like Danny.
No, he was
annoying as hell.
But you can see in this sense there's another story. So you have the story of Raphael. You have the story of April O'Neil. You have the story of Danny, who has lost his way and he returns back. He finds out. You have the story of the rest of the Turtles, as well as Splinter, that family bond. So, I mean, you have that, and it's concise. You know what's happening. They set up, there's a clan, Foot Clan, kind of like mysterious gang. The police will deny it. April O'Neil, like Lois Lane, bring it out like this is the facts. This is really happening. Why are you hiding it? And then you have the group that will counter that, the heroes, the Ninja Turtles. So you see that group become about how that group formulated. So in the sense of good versus evil, which is fine. And so it's not all over the place. It's not like some other films we've seen are like, what the hell is this? It makes
it's not
intersecting
like 5 different storylines all at once for the big master plan of having a series of movies that are going to tie in together to introduce 5 more storylines at the same time. I'm not throwing shade at anything that's came out in the 5-10 years.
You're definitely not throwing no shade to Marvel
or DC.
Right. It is entertaining. It is worth the watch, worth to own. Maybe you don't have to. We have it on streaming, so you don't have to own it. But definitely worth the watch, especially if you're into martial arts. If you love that type of style, and the martial arts in here is very good. Unlike the cartoons where you have Rocksteady or Bebop about to fight the turtles, and then like Donatello will just smash the foot of one of them, and they're like hopping, like ow, 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 and the fight's done. Like
Yeah,
how
very much.
simple. And we're not going to review the Michael Bay ones.
No.
There's no need.
No, we're good.
All right, guys, that is our throwback review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Have you seen it? Well, have you seen this one? Which scene was your favorite? Which scene did you like? Did you catch the faux pas that I pointed out? If you have a movie or show you would like us to review, please let us know in the comments below or email us at talesoftvbros@gmail.com. Until next time, we'll be the next time. I'm Angel.
I'm Adan.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.